A woman is now dead after a shooting in Baldwin. Police say they found 20-year-old Ramia Griffin in an apartment on Young Ridge Drive on Friday afternoon. We're still working to find more information on this.
On a cold night in Baldwin Borough, in an apartment on Young Ridge Drive, the silence was shattered, not by the initial violence, but by something far more heartbreaking that followed. Authorities would later respond to reports of a shooting, but neighbors recall hearing gunshots much earlier, hours earlier, leaving a terrifying question hanging in the air. What happened during that long, agonizing lapse in time? And chillingly, during those hours, another sound echoed within those walls, the persistent, lonely cry of a one-year-old baby, alone, just feet away from where their mother lay. When police arrived on February 9, 2024, they found 20-year-old Remy Griffin, a young mother whose life should have just been beginning. She was found inside her apartment, pronounced deceased at the scene from multiple gunshot wounds, 12 in total. Her one-year-old daughter was found unharmed in an adjacent room. The innocence of that child, amidst such devastation, paints a stark picture that's impossible to shake. The immediate focus shifted to identifying who could commit such an act. Suspicion quickly landed on a man familiar to Remy, the father of her child, 22-year-old Adelin Itangwa. His arrest brought some relief, but it opened up a flood of questions that reached far beyond this apartment complex. Because the reality of this case, and what may have driven the father of Remy's child to end her life, leaving their baby mere feet from the tragedy, involves layers of deception that weren't visible on the surface. Stay with us, we'll explore the complex relationship, the shocking parallel life the suspect was allegedly living, and the lasting impact on a family and a community. If understanding these real stories is important to you, please take a moment to subscribe to Whistles of True Crime and join us. Welcome to Whistles of True Crime, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most chilling true crime tales. If you crave real-life crime stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat, you are in the right place. Kindly subscribe to this channel now, and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. At the center of this unfolding tragedy was Ramia Griffin, known to those who loved her simply as Remy. She was just 20 years old, her world revolving around her most precious role. Being a mother to her one-year-old daughter, Remy was young, full of life, and deeply cherished by her family and friends. Her days were dedicated to nurturing her child, building a future for them both. Her life held immense value and promise, making what happened next all the more devastating. It was a Friday, February 9, 2024, the kind of day that started like any other for the residents of Baldwin Borough, but by approximately 4:30 in the afternoon, a call came into police dispatch, a call reporting a shooting on the 5400 block of Young Ridge Drive. First responders were dispatched, heading towards an apartment building that held a horrific secret. What police would discover that afternoon was profoundly disturbing, but for some neighbors living nearby, the first signs of trouble weren't at 4:30 p.m. Several residents recounted hearing what sounded like gunshots much earlier that day, around 3 a.m. That detail alone creates a chilling gap in time, a gap where unthinkable events occurred, and during those long hours, a different sound filled the air, a sound that caused unease and alarm, the persistent, prolonged crying of a baby. This wasn't just a brief fuss, it was a sustained sound of distress, coming from within Remy's apartment. When officers entered the apartment on Young Ridge Drive, the scene they encountered was heartbreaking. Inside, they found Remy. She had suffered multiple gunshot wounds. Later, the full extent of the violence would be revealed. She had been shot a staggering 12 times. She was pronounced deceased right there at the scene, but then, they made another discovery. In an adjacent room, unharmed and alone, was Remy's one-year-old daughter, safe, but undoubtedly traumatized by the unknown horrors that had unfolded just feet away. The image of that innocent child amidst such brutal loss is a difficult one to reconcile. Homicide detectives arrived to begin their meticulous work. As they processed the scene, collecting evidence and piecing together the initial moments, they made observations that struck them as unusual. Reports indicate detectives at the scene commented that the circumstances they were finding felt perplexing. They reportedly said things didn't seem to add up. This detail from investigators on the ground raises immediate questions. What exactly was out of place? What about this scene didn't fit the expected pattern? It suggested the reality of what happened here might be more complicated, and more disturbing, than a straightforward act of violence. With the horrific scene discovered and the pressing need to find answers, the Allegheny County Police Department's Homicide Unit began their investigation. They gathered witness statements, reviewed any available surveillance footage from the area, and quickly began piecing together the circumstances leading up to Remy's death. Their efforts soon led them to focus on a key individual. That individual was 22-year-old Adelin Itangwa. His name surfaced early in the investigation. He was identified as the primary suspect through a combination of witness accounts and confirmation of his connection to the victim. That connection was significant and tragic. Adelin Itangwa was the father of Remy's 1-year-old daughter, the child found alone and unharmed in the apartment. This fact immediately placed him at the center of the inquiry.
Mariah Griffin says her sister Remy and Adelin Itangwa were together about 4 years. In this picture, the two expecting parents were all smiles. Sometime after their daughter was born, they separated, yet maintained what Mariah thought was a civil relationship in the spirit of co-parenting.
Within days of the discovery, Adelin Itangwa was apprehended. His arrest occurred on a Wednesday. He was subsequently taken into custody and lodged at the Allegheny County Jail. He faced serious charges immediately: criminal homicide, reflecting the gravity of Remy's death, and endangering the welfare of a child. Acknowledging the terrifying reality that their young daughter was present during the events that took her mother's life, the relationship between Remy and Adelin Itangwa had spanned approximately 4 years. While their romantic involvement had ended some time before that tragic February day, their lives remained intertwined through their shared responsibility. They were co-parenting their daughter. From the perspective of Remy's family, Itangwa was someone they knew. Remy's sister, Mariah, conveyed that Itangwa had been considered part of their family unit. He had joined them for dinners, attended birthday celebrations. This paints a picture of a seemingly integrated relationship, focused on their child, even after the romantic connection was gone. But despite this outward appearance, this seemingly amicable co-parenting arrangement, there were undercurrents. Quiet concerns existed. While the family knew Adelin Itangwa and included him in their lives, Remy's family had reportedly expressed worries regarding his character, concerns they held below the surface. This hint of unease, this feeling that perhaps not everything was as it seemed in the background of Adelin Itangwa's life, raises a critical question. What were those concerns? And were they connected to the unthinkable violence that ended Remy Griffin's life? I would like to know what you think about this. Kindly drop a comment below. As the Allegheny County Police Homicide Unit continued their intense investigation into Remy Griffin's death, focusing on Adelin Itangwa, their work led them down an unexpected path. The search for answers in the Baldwin Borough tragedy would uncover alleged activities far removed from Young Ridge Drive, suggesting Itangwa may have been leading a life with more layers than initially apparent. On February 20th, just days after Itangwa's arrest in connection with Remy's murder, investigators executed a search warrant at his residence in Monroeville. They were looking for evidence that might shed light on the events of February 9th, but during their search, they discovered something that connected Itangwa to an entirely separate series of alleged crimes. Among Itangwa's possessions, police found a Giant Eagle deposit bag. This wasn't just a stray item. Its presence was significant. Itangwa was employed as a courier for Giant Eagle, a job that gave him access to these very types of bags. This discovery provided the crucial link to a series of thefts that had occurred months earlier in Westmoreland County. The investigation into the deposit bag connected Itangwa to the disappearance of 6 similar bags from Giant Eagle pharmacies in Ligonier and Hempfield Township between September and December of the previous year. These weren't empty bags. They contained customer checks and money orders, totaling approximately $4,800, according to reports. When questioned about these thefts, Itangwa confessed. He reportedly admitted to taking the bags and collaborating with another individual, identified as Muhammad Arvamuya. The alleged plan was to cash the stolen items and split the money between them. This revelation painted a picture of alleged calculated deception and criminal activity occurring long before Remy's death. As a direct result of this discovery during the murder investigation, Adelin Itangwa now faced additional legal consequences. In Westmoreland County, he was charged with conspiracy, receiving stolen property, and theft. Preliminary hearings for these new charges were scheduled for April 2024. The man accused of ending Remy's life was now also facing accusations of a pattern of calculated theft, adding another layer of complexity. Another unsettling detail emerged about Adelin Itangwa's actions following Remy's death. Despite the horrific accusations against him and his status as the primary suspect, Itangwa reportedly attended Remy Griffin's funeral. He was there, but he remained apart from the mourners, not interacting with Remy's grieving family or friends. He showed up. Consider that for a moment. He was there, and there's a small, specific detail about his presence at that funeral that you might not have noticed. Keep watching closely.
Griffin was killed last week, shot multiple times in her Baldwin apartment. Police found her one-year-old child, who now no longer has her mother.
Pittsburgh's Action News 4 reporter Mike Valeni joins us live from Allegheny County Police headquarters with tonight's tribute. Mike.
Yeah, Chris and Mike, good evening. She was known to those who loved her as Remy, a young mother described to me as a beautiful soul.
We're going to cry, but we're also going to celebrate her life in the 20 years that she was here on Earth.
As the wind howled and temperatures dropped, hundreds of people huddled together to pay their respects to a young woman who meant so much to them.
Remy was amazing. She was creative. She was beautiful. She was talented. She was nurturing.
What did people lose when they lost Remy?
A friend, a daughter, a granddaughter, a niece. I'm just overwhelmed. I just can't wrap my head around it right now.
Brenda Durrell's affectionate nickname for her granddaughter dates back 20 years.
She was just sweet, loving, just my little chubby cheeks.
A young girl who grew into a promising young woman.
Remy was a shining star. Any room that she walked into, all you saw from her was her big bright smile. She was always smiling, she had so many friends.
Remy's older sister by 2 years, Mariah Griffin, described her as her best friend.
The fact that she was loved by so many people, it's just like, who would want to do something to her and take her life, and in the manner of it, it's just, I just don't, it doesn't make any sense. We just don't understand.
In the days that followed the devastating discovery on Young Ridge Drive, the community of Baldwin Borough and those who knew Remy Griffin came together. Family, friends, and neighbors sought a way to mourn, to remember, and to stand in solidarity. A vigil was organized at Estiorox High School, a place Remy likely knew well. The turnout was significant. Approximately 200 people gathered, filling the space with shared sorrow and support. The large number of people present spoke volumes about who Remy was. Her aunt, Tamara Guyton, observed the gathering and remarked on the powerful showing of support. She noted that the sheer number of people who came out was a true reflection of Remy's character, a clear indication of the positive influence she had on those around her in her short life. It was a moment that underscored the love and respect she had earned. During the emotional vigil, memories of Remy were shared, candles were lit, and balloons were released into the evening sky as a visual tribute. Among those who spoke was Remy's sister, Mariah. Her words conveyed the profound depth of her personal loss. She described Remy as her closest confidant, the person she shared everything with. The family's grief was evident. Their struggle to comprehend the brutal violence that took Remy from them palpable in their voices. Amidst their sorrow, Remy's family voiced a collective message. They spoke of their deep personal pain but also expressed a fervent desire for peace to prevail, even in the face of such violence, and they called for justice, a clear, unified request that the person responsible for ending Remy's life be held accountable through the legal process. Perhaps the most touching moment came from Mariah, speaking about Remy's young daughter. In a brave and heartfelt commitment made in the presence of their community, Mariah vowed to raise her sister's child as her own. This promise ensures that Remy's memory will be kept alive, not just in the hearts of adults, but in the life of the daughter she loved so fiercely. It is an act of immense strength and love, a commitment to carry forward Remy's legacy through the child she left behind. Support for Remy's family extended beyond the vigil, demonstrating the wider community's compassion and desire to help secure the future for Remy's daughter. A GoFundMe fundraiser was created. This collective effort to provide financial support further illustrated the impact Remy had and the community's desire to help ease the burden on the family in the aftermath of this devastating loss. The strength shown by Remy's family, particularly Mariah, in the face of unimaginable grief is truly moving. If their resilience and Remy's story have resonated with you on an emotional level, please consider showing your support. Liking this video helps share Remy's story, and if you have been moved by this, share a word of comfort or hope for Remy's family in the comments below. Following his arrest, Adelin Itangwa remains in custody, lodged at the Allegheny County Jail. He is currently awaiting the initial stages of the legal proceedings against him. He faces severe charges in Allegheny County related to Remy Griffin's death, criminal homicide and endangering the welfare of a child. In addition to these, he also faces the separate charges in Westmoreland County stemming from the alleged theft scheme uncovered during the murder investigation, including conspiracy, receiving stolen property, and theft. Preliminary hearings for those Westmoreland County charges were scheduled for April 2024. As these legal processes move forward, the arraignments, hearings, and potential trials in both counties, the full details surrounding the events that led to Remy's death, and Itangwa's alleged activities, will continue to emerge. The path to a final legal resolution is one that takes time, and the complete story, with all its painful details, is still being told within the court system. But even as the legal process unfolds, questions remain, deep, difficult questions that hang in the air. Around this case, what truly happened inside that apartment on Youngridge Drive during those early morning hours of February 9th? What was the ultimate catalyst for such brutal violence? And what were those specific concerns Remy's family reportedly had about Adelin Itangwa? Were they connected? The answers may eventually come through the courts, but for now, these questions linger. The death of Remy Griffin at just 20 years old is a profound tragedy. It's a story that began with a horrifying discovery on a quiet street, a young mother deceased, and her one-year-old child found unharmed but alone nearby. It quickly led to the arrest of the child's father, Adelin Itangwa, but as the investigation progressed, it revealed alleged layers of his life, including a separate series of theft charges in another county, suggesting a complexity below the surface that few may have known. Remy's life was cut short by an act of violence that her family and community are still grappling with. Their grief is immense, made bearable only by their shared memories of Remy and the strength they find in supporting one another, particularly in the unwavering commitment to raise her daughter and keep her memory alive. This case serves as a stark reminder of the ripple effect of violence, the deep pain it inflicts on those left behind, and the resilience required to carry on. This story carries lessons about understanding the people in our lives, recognizing that hidden struggles or activities can exist behind a seemingly normal facade. This story serves as a stark reminder of hidden dangers, a stark, tragic reminder. It underscores the importance of community support in times of crisis and the long, difficult road to justice that families must often navigate. Remy Griffin's story is heartbreaking, but understanding these real events is crucial for learning, for remembering, and for seeking accountability. If this video has helped you gain insight into this case and the lessons it holds, please help us share it. Our hearts ache for Remy Griffin's family. Words feel inadequate, but please know you are held in our deepest sympathy and prayers. May you find strength and comfort in the memories of Remy. Thank you for watching. If you crave to see more stories like this, where ordinary lives are shattered by extraordinary events, kindly like and subscribe this channel. Turn on the notification bell, so that you be the first to know when we drop our next video. More answers waiting to be discovered. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.